The sprawling metropolis of Johannesburg has long exercised a magnetic pull on people of all walks of life with its promise of opportunity. Currently, 10,000 new people move to Johannesburg every month, and the population is moving closer to the 5 million people mark. While it is the economic hub of South Africa, Johannesburg has to cope with high levels of unemployment, poverty, and inequality. To counteract high unemployment figures, especially among the youth, the city last year launched an initiative called Jozi Work. Its objective is to encourage grassroots job creation and entrepreneurship through partnerships between the city and its communities.
Jozi Work is really a community co-production model. It learns its lessons from international best practice in co-production that tries to tap into the capabilities that you have in your communities, building partnerships with your communities, and communities not seeing themselves as passive recipients of municipal services, but rather as partners in the provision of municipal services. So it's a co-production model. It's a mechanism through which we procure services directly from community-based enterprises and cooperatives.
It is actually a groundbreaking policy which has been adopted by the mayoral committee as well as council. So it's just not just a once-off. The first tranche is in the order of about 3 billion citywide.
First conceived in 2013, the Jozi Work program provided just over 1 billion rands worth of city contracts in the 2014-2015 financial year. Set aside for the 2015-2016 financial year is 3.2 billion rands worth of contracts. This enables communities to deliver municipal services in their own neighbourhoods.
I think it's a very good idea. I think it's a great way to get the community involved in service delivery and to get the community to take ownership of service delivery in their own communities. It can also be a very cost-effective and efficient way of doing the work. It has to be managed well, just like any construction work, because we must still be sure that we get good quality and value for money from the Jozi Work contracts, just like we do from any other contracts.
Now, at some level, to a lot of people, that might sound like high-flown political theory, but what you're seeing is that it can translate very effectively into on-the-ground reality. We've got a situation now where enterprises composed of people with no commercial experience from across the city are stepping up in their communities and saying, I'm willing to be part of a commercially relevant unit, a co-op, an SMME, that is also part of contracting with the public sector. Now, historically, that's never really been possible because bureaucracy has created way too many barriers to entry for commercial activity on the part of people who would approach the city and say, can't I be part of solving the problem? Can't I be part of cleaning the streets? Can't I be part of, fixing the city's infrastructure? And what the mayor really put down is a design that said you can, but the partnership must be structured in such a way that you will not be a charge of the city forever. You have to grow and evolve into enterprises that can actually stand on their own 2 feet and can really interface with the private sector. What that means is over time, we build a pool of micro enterprises that grow, at least a few of them, 50%, 60%, if they can make it into that private sector kind of trading volumes. If they can create opportunities for themselves outside of what the city is providing, they will then hire more and more young people, more and more unemployed people in these communities. And those are the kind of enterprises all over the world, these small 5-10 person shops that create the most employment for people in their first job situations.
We have committed 30% of our repairs and maintenance budget, 30% of our contracted services budget, and 10% of our capital budget to be able to do that. Of course, as I said, it taps into the capability that we have in communities, but it also acknowledges that in certain instances, you'd need to complement the skills that are there. So you might have electricians, you might have plumbers that are able to do the work, but they've not really run an enterprise, so they need to be able to do bills of quantities, invoicing, and those sort of things that ensure that they are able to maximize the profits that they generate from the system, not run into cash flow problems and those sort of things. So you get a capability support agency that supports them. In certain instances, the capability support agency comes in and enhances certain aspects of the skills that they have. So it's really a mechanism through which we're trying to get communities more involved in helping us resolve whatever issues we need to resolve in their respective communities.
Through regional forums, communities are made aware of work packages on offer by the city. It was in March 2015 that the City of Johannesburg started with their presentations of these opportunities to the community. These include packages in sectors such as energy, water and waste, greening services, maintenance, agriculture, fleet management and waste collection and recycling.
But I think what is also key to make mention is how we source the guys that you see around, which is the process that Jozi Work prides itself in. But particularly what the city wants to see happening and what the public is in need and has been saying, you know, I don't mind not getting a job, or I don't mind not getting, and a job in this case we're talking from an entity point of view. How I lose, if I lose in a very transparent way, I'm very happy. And this is how the regional forums are formed. So what happens is, this is where we source these entities. A department of the city or a municipal-owned entity will go out there. A regional forum is a briefing session. When they get them, they then would explain the work package to the public. A work package which would be a scope of work to say this is what's coming, and we need so many people, the contract will be so long, the amount will be so much, entities will be in there and people will start asking questions. So where would we get material and when do we start, and so forth and so forth.
One of my colleagues, the contractor, once told me that there's a Jozi Work, and then he told me how it operates. He benefited from Jozi Work in construction. Then he invited me one day. Then I joined the team in Ebon Ivory in the meeting. Then I attended their sessions, and then they released some jobs, and then they exposed them to us as the small contractors. Then I was interested in the job. Then I completed the documents to bid for the job. Then I was surprised in April 2016 when I was called that you have been appointed for Jozi Work and then for Johannesburg Water Project in Ivory Park to Baghdad.
Communities were very excited. Of course, in certain instances, a bit anxious. They were anxious in relation to how we would adjudicate, who would participate, and we set out a massive program, one of registering their companies and cooperatives. So we resourced the program, engaged our partners at the business places, a mechanism through which we could assist them to register their companies. We took them through workshops about how they would be able to participate in adjudication. We explained to them how they would constitute part of the regional forum that oversees the transparency of adjudication, because people were sometimes concerned as to whether adjudication would happen in a manner that prejudices people. In certain instances, it's a question of defining what is local. So is it my ward, is it my community, is it the entire Alexandra, is it the ward that I live in? And those sort of issues we've had to work through with the communities themselves and continuously find solutions. We're quite excited because it has enabled us to build a new cadre of entrepreneurs who are coming on board, who are building their own capability and capacity to be able to provide services to the municipality, but hopefully be able to outgrow the municipality, we'll be able to do competitive tendering and support services for private enterprises in any other area that they have the capability and abilities in.
The city's network of capability support agents are established contractors who are tasked with training community-based entities to ensure that they become sustainable businesses. The CSAs provide technical and developmental assistance. The city has also teamed up with entities such as Johannesburg Water and the Johannesburg Roads Agency.
For various entities and departments, they have different work packages. But specific to Johannesburg Water, we're looking at ongoing replacement and renewal of infrastructure, such as pipes and for both water and sewer. as well as ongoing maintenance and repair. Why we call this decent jobs is that we are mindful of the fact that they have to be repeated jobs, and the type of work that can be done must be such that we can use labor-based, methods where applicable.
Because the Jozi Work program is targeting relatively new businesses or cooperatives in communities which might not have much experience or skills in the type of work that we do, and will generally have people involved who haven't got a high level of qualifications in civil engineering or such activities. We are focused on looking across our range of work and focusing on those areas of work which are less skill intensive and less capital intensive, because it's difficult for new businesses and co-ops to raise capital. So we've particularly identified our level 1 maintenance activities, which includes activities such as picking up litter from the road reserve, cleaning of vegetation in the road reserve, removing silt from the side drains and from the entrances to curb inlets, and what we call scoffling, which is removing grass which is growing in the sidewalks.
In one of our programs, for example, on the pipe replacement programs, we've got plus or minus 65,000 small and micro enterprises, including co-ops, where we put them through an incubation program. And we have what we refer to as capacity support agents, who happen to be established contractors in various aspects of municipal service provision. We have a 4-year program, for example, for the pipe replacement program, where these co-ops and SMEs, small and micro enterprises, start at CIDB rating of 1, and when they graduate, they could be either CIDB rating 4 or 5. And year on year, their responsibility increases with the value of work that they can do, which enables us now to have like some type of a sausage machine. Then we have new entrants coming in as people graduate. But the terms and conditions apply in terms of the quality of work. And we also ensure that the CSAs carry the responsibility, because they contract with the co-ops and the SMMEs. So that risk is allocated to the CSAs.
We get a scoring from the city. How it works is that the small companies will apply at the City of Joburg for those jobs that are advertised. Then they will get scored and listed. Those lists are then forwarded to us as the CSA. We then do a selection from that list, which co-ops are scoring the highest, and then we identify them, provide them with training and all the assistance that they might need.
On a street corner in Alexandra, Elijah Malachi is orchestrating a small recycling business. On the day we filmed there, they had been on the corner for exactly a week.
We just have to fence this place, because already we paid somebody to come and collect and clean everything here, and we are going to fence it around and then build a shelter that it will come from there up to there, so that even when it's raining, my people can work. I registered my business in 2012. From 2012 up until 2015, the business didn't get any job opportunities up until the introduction of Jozi Work in the region, in Gauteng, in fact. Jozi Work make a presentation to the community, and then fortunately I attended most of their presentations, and they gave us the work packages, and I applied one of their, I'm sure I applied 5 of their work packages, and I was fortunate enough to be called into the recycling. I was working in, it's an interesting story to tell, because I was driving a taxi. Even now, when I came to start here, I was driving a taxi so that I can just make money to survive, because I didn't want to go and work for somebody else. If I have to go and market and work for a company, it was going to be a problem. So driving a taxi, it's like an everyday job that you can just change anytime. So I sticked on driving a taxi up until I get my business running. Yes.
The CSA is an organization essentially that has been appointed to provide a service on behalf of the city, or pick it up in particular. So its role is twofold: to make sure that basically it assists the cooperatives out there to actually provide a service to the communities where they come from, That's the first point. And secondly, our role is essentially to ensure that these entities develop. So we provide what we call an enterprise development leg of the Jozi Work program. We've got 10 entities that we're looking after here in Region E. 9 of them essentially are doing street cleaning, recycling, education and campaigns. The other one is doing RCR. We do it on 2 layers. One is formal training and workshops. The other is basically on one-on-one basis, where we basically visit individually these entities to make sure that we follow up on certain things that they've done in class, for example, or in workshops, and to make sure that we basically evaluate their progress going forward in as far as that intervention pertaining to workshops and training is concerned. But also, we do what we call business training. Over and above that, we also do technical waste management training, which is very much accredited as well.
Around the corner from the new business of Elijah and Daughters is a much more mature recycling business that recently received a boost from the Jozi Work program. In various guises, the Mveletso cooperative has been cleaning up in Alexandra since 2005.
So one day I was called by somebody from the DBSA office, said, we've heard about you, there's a program. We were just people, we were not even organized. So he said, I heard about people who are cleaning Alexandra, we're trying to clean Alexandra. I want to help, but I want you to establish a buyback center, because all the waste that you're taking out of the yards, you're taking it to the landfill site, and you're filling up the landfill sites. I said, I never thought of that. I said, yes, we want to fund you. Then in 2007, we were funded. ARP gave us the site. We managed to buy the truck behind you there. We managed to put up this sorting bay, that structure. We bought scales, we bought crushers, we bought a lot of equipment. Then this way the buyback center was born.
In 2013, Mveletso Cooperative started recycling work in partnership with Pick It Up, and in 2015 they were awarded one of the first Jozi Work package contracts. With her visit, they had just started work on a new recycling contract.
Jozi Work just started about a week ago here on the recycling, but with street sweeping. I have about 10 people who are on street sweeping, including their team leader. I have 8 who are educating. These 10 here who are sorting started last week, but I had my own team, as I said, we started in 2005, who have been with us here. Numbers just come and go, because the income that we're generating here, that's what we are paying them. Revenue generation has gone up a bit, because in 2013 we had a partnership with Pick It Up when the recycling thing started. Pick It Up, we were part of those people who were appointed by Pick It Up. We're getting free waste from the suburbs, which is partially sorted. Some of it, as you see here, this is all the residue which has to, on the other side, not these are recyclables on the other side, which is collected twice a week by Pick It Up at no cost. They're providing us with a truck at no cost, their own driver, their own supervisor. All I'm doing, I'm providing them with 3 loaders and 2 ladies who are rolling up the bags, who are stationed at Pick It Up at the depot. So since 2013, my revenue has increased from, I think, from around about 3,000 when we started up until now. I'm sure we are reaching a mark of 50,000 per month, which is generating, but that includes, our expenses as well. We have to pay for, as I said, we have 3 trucks, we have 2 buckies, and so forth.
Deeper into residential Alexandra, we find the street cleaning team of Wisdom Unlimited Projects Cooperative under the watchful eye of Tabang Mohape.
We clean about 11 streets. It's 12th Avenue until 19th Avenue. And that is together with Selbond Street, John Brandt, and Vasco. We have a cleaning program in place, which we, on a daily basis, we have to make sure that we adhere to. We've selected our best team to actually do the cleaning, which we know they do on a daily basis, because it's not an easy task. It is indeed a very, very difficult one, but we're doing our level best to actually keep it as clean as possible, because we do have targets to meet on a daily basis, that is. After they clean, there's street cleaning plastics that we leave where we have just cleaned. And there is a company that we work together with CSA and for Jozi Work. It comes every morning to collect all the plastics that we have filled to a normal capacity and tightly sealed, so the plastics doesn't open and the plastics comes out or whatever and they just fly all over, which is gonna actually be a rework, and we try by all means to reach our targets, yes. We have 5 directors that are running the Wisdom Unlimited Projects company, and we have an admin. We also have 2 team leaders that actually come on a daily basis to actually make sure that the work is done. And one of the team leaders actually comes to do street checking as to if everything is being done accordingly. When we started with the program, I never thought something like this existed. And we do normal checks and we go around every day on a daily basis and we see how it is actually helping Alexander on a daily basis, because we know waste and all these rotten things that they dump on the side, they can actually make a person sick. There's a whole lot of kids around. They go there, they play and they touch things they're not supposed to. There's bacteria, there's infections, and there's a whole lot of things that we as the entrusted companies to run the Jozi Work project have to make sure that we educate everyone in Ward 116 and Alexander as a whole to make sure that they are aware of the dangers and the importance of keeping Alexander clean.
One of Johannesburg Water's projects with Jozi Work is in Ivory Park in Midrand, in an informal settlement called Baghdad. It is for the installation of communal water standpipes for 327 households. The objective of the project is to reduce the current citywide backlog. This Jozi Work project in Baghdad created 20 jobs through Kolofelo Maduna's cooperative Tsipa Development Services and the main contractor with Johannesburg Water, Motla Projects, which is also the capability support agent.
I've been the contractor for Joburg Water since for some years ago, and I tendered for this basic water in informal settlement. Then I got the job. Then here in Baghdad, as you know that the government has started with this Jozi Work. Then after we got this job, we were told that it's going to be a Jozi Work construction, whereby we were given the contractor, then to mentor the contractor. So the subcontractor was doing excavation, laying of the pipe, and backfilling. Yes, that's basically what he was doing. So what we were doing from our side, we were mentoring their workers. We did everything for his workers, starting from induction, on-the-job training. So whereby we did show them how to do the excavate, how to trim the trenches, how to lay the pipe, how to backfill, and how to all the exposing of the pipes. And after the work was done, we absorbed his workers. And as you can see now, his workers that he hired as Jozi Work, because his work was only specific that he has to do excavation, lay the pipe and backfilling. Then when the work was done, then we absorbed his workers. So we are continuing with them to do the testing, to do the installation of meters, to do the installation of standpipes, and to do the grey water. So that's basically what we are doing at this moment.
We have enjoyed to work together with Motla Project and the team that we've been working, and we're so proud with Johannesburg Water for them exposing the whole work to us and then being appointed, being recognized and working together up to the end part of the project. I've got enough for Jozi Work and I'm still interested to go on with them. I've benefited a lot, they've helped me a lot, and at the same time they've helped our community at large, and I've seen the role that they are playing in our small business around the Ivory Park and around City of Johannesburg at large. Currently I'm working in Limpopo for road and stormwater maintenance under Greater Guyana Municipality. The job is running is a 36 months construction maintenance as and when. But apparently I've got another job working with City of Johannesburg in Rooival for renovation of the turbine condenser.
So, as the Mayor has often pointed out, Jozi Work at its heart is about partnering with communities. So this is moving well beyond a kind of labour model for delivering public services and starting to move towards a much more robust enterprise model, which at the same time is changing the way the waste stream is managed. Now, we could have taken a different approach and said, okay, we'd like to set up a number of very expensive facilities to execute the same task. But the truth of the matter is this is a much more effective bottom-up approach to achieving the same goal. You're getting separation at the point of collection. This is redemption from the waste stream so it doesn't get diverted to landfill. And at the same time, we're creating a lot more on-the-ground community jobs and community enterprise experience. What you're seeing right here is a group of people that are being taught how to operate as a business, which is a critical distinction from simply showing up, being paid a wage, and having very little stake in the outcome of the activity that you're part of. They know that the more they do, the better they do, the more they get paid. And that fundamentally creates a virtuous circle between the city and the communities in terms of how something like waste, which is a majorly complex issue in a place like Alex, where you have such densities that are only replicated in places like Mumbai. Ultimately, Alex produces more waste in an hour than most parts of Joburg produce in a month. And this is one of the ways that we can turn that kind of challenge into an opportunity.
I'm privileged, to say that to be one of the Jozi Work, my company to work for Jozi Work, because we are not only getting job opportunities, we are employing people, which is helping the community, which is benefiting the community as well, and also we are being developed as entrepreneurs, as tomorrow's entrepreneurs as well. And it's like they are holding our hands, to make it possible. I've always dreamed of having my own company, not only my own company to make money, but to contribute to South Africa in terms of job employment. Helping South Africa to build the economy. They give us business management training in general. We have weekly workshops, business, finance, governance, waste management. I'm excited to be part of this thing. I've got 35 people. I'm one of the 35 people because I'm supervising them. I've got 34. Here on this department, we have 10 of them here. And there's others that are doing public awareness. They are teaching the community about the environmental waste management, because if we don't take care of the waste, it damages the environment. It can damage the environment in general, and even the water that we drink. If we don't take care of waste, it damages the water that we drink. So those that are doing the public awareness, they are teaching the community to take care of the waste management so that they don't just throw it anywhere. Because if they throw it anywhere, their children, they're going to touch those waste and they will get sick tomorrow.
Ideally, Jozi at Work is meant to be a hand up, an introduction to entrepreneurship and a future beyond the municipal scope.
And this we see, it's how we address this is how we're going to aid the socio-economic transformation type of thing from a local government point of view. And in a sense, in a very short way, that's what Jozi at Work is about, taking down the barriers of entry, helping people to get to a point where they at some point become a very stable, sustainable entity. And key to everything, this program is a hands up, not a handout. For you to partake, you must be in a position to raise your hand and stand and compete. It's not a give out, it's not a handout. That's what the program is about.
South Africa as a country is complaining about lack of jobs all over. But we believe that if we try and create sufficient conducive space for these entities to basically flourish as enterprises, they'll create more jobs and therefore reduce the unemployment rate in the country.
We are seeing some of them that are starting to bid for provincial and national work, but they're still focusing on the public sector. And then, of course, we expect that some of them would participate in different other supply chain opportunities throughout the enterprises.
At Botlabella village on the far east bank of Alexandra, we meet one of these entrepreneurs who currently employs 13 people on this project.
This is the second company that I had. I had the first one as a CC, that was called Amashenge. That's the company was doing this painting and tiling. I'm the one who was doing all this thing here. Then 2015 now, March, I've registered this Keteletu as a PTY Ltd. So this is the first job that I've got from Jozi Work. But I've been trying, doing the application and so on. Until last year on the New Year's Eve, they phoned me that I was appointed to come and do the cleaning here at Botlabella village. They start working at 8 o'clock, and then 1 o'clock they're taking a lunchtime. They're knocking off at 3:30. Yeah, so on Monday we're doing the driveway. We're cleaning the driveway and the packing for the cars before we're getting inside the clusters. And then Tuesday they're going straight to their clusters. On Wednesday is the pick it up day, where they have to take all the bin inside the clusters and take them down. Thursday the same thing, they go back to their clusters. And then on Friday again we start with the driveway, because Saturday we're not working on Saturday, so we're doing that cleaning for the driveway for the weekend. I think it's a good experience because it's a learning curve. Yeah, that's why I say Jozi have done the good thing to uplift those people who are not working, and we're learning something out of that. I've got a guy who groomed me. He's the one that I was working with here. His name is Joe Kekana. Yeah, he's the one who's putting his shoes, teaching me how the business runs, how the construction is and all that.
Key to everything, the city does not appoint. The capability supporting agent has the final say. If by some strange reason the guys that presented themselves as they know the story, it turns out that they don't know the story, the CSA has a right not to appoint them. But when it does that, it therefore then informs the city in writing that we did not appoint X because of 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is why, and then they continue. So it's important to outline the process on how we source these people to come into the program. And yes, the contracts do vary from one project to the other. The sectors that we've covered, it's not all. An avalanche of work packages are coming through. We are now ready, departments are prepared, presentations have been done to the public. What is now currently happening is the evaluation process or the selection process, right? Which then would therefore mean go out there and start working. So you will see that Fleet is also coming, which is Avis role. They're playing the CSA role there.
They will be supporting a range of micro enterprises, doing fleet cleaning, vehicle audits, basic mechanic work on drivable repairs, car maintenance. We're looking at mobile maintenance teams that will actually, service the city's fleet where it stands.
There's food and agriculture and food resilience and agriculture that's also coming. There's greening services that's happening, where people are cutting grass, maintaining that, parks as well, which is very key.
We do training as well. Most of the time on the sites we do what we call non-accredited training, like your material handling for the chemicals, your safety training. Yeah, we do those, and then mostly we do outsource from the other companies outside. And that's the one we did last year for safety reps, which was accredited, and the participants also got certificates. We also did one for business administration, where the participants also received certificates.
We plan to do a lot of development. We think it is an opportunity to build a long-term partnership with communities. We, of course, are saying that in many instances, when communities are not feeling that they are partners with the city, they tend to feel alienated from the city, from their entire civic life, and participate almost as passive beneficiaries of the municipality, and sometimes the relationship becomes only transactional. We buy water from rainwater, we sell it to the household, and that becomes the only part of the partnership that we have with communities, and it needs to move to beyond the transactional relationship to a civic relationship that embodies that sort of broader civic participation and active and engaged citizenry.
So for us, this is part of the long-term solution to all kinds of unemployment. Obviously, it links in with our big initiatives around youth empowerment, our Vulnerable Jozi program. Via Vulnerable Jozi, for example, which breaks down barriers for youth to enter different kinds of economic activity, young co-ops and young SMMEs are being prepared and schooled on how to take best advantage of Jozi Work. So it creates a platform for us to do all kinds of interesting things.
Vulnerable Jozi is a 150 million rand youth program aimed at breaking down barriers to opportunities for 200,000 youth in entry-level job training and placement, online further education and entrepreneurial skills development. The program is being rolled out in partnership with the Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator, an NGO that specializes in matching unemployed youth to job opportunities. How do these two link up with Jozi at Work?
Well, Jozi at Work becomes a part of the overall Vulindlela Jozi program. Of course, Vulindlela Jozi is more focused on young people, and young people are being channeled into different sort of opportunities. We call it a funnel of some sort. Young people come in, they register on a mobile site, somebody then calls them, looks at their aptitude, their capability, their skills, and on the basis of that, some of them could be matched to already existing employment opportunities that the market has.
Since 2014, I was applying for a job, but I used to get some contract jobs. And then early this year, I got an invitation from Vulindlela Jozi to come and study web design if I'm interested. Then I saw it as an opportunity and I grabbed it.
I ended up at Move after like 3 years of struggling to find a job and not studying. So I decided to join Harambee through my friends. I heard of Harambee through my friends.
Jozi at Work, with its thrust of partnering with communities to deliver municipal services to their own neighbourhoods, has targeted 5,500 community-based enterprises, and 6,500 have already expressed interest. Over 7,000 community members are already benefiting from the program. Over 2,000 new cooperatives and over 1,000 community-based PTYs have been registered as legal entities to date. The Ntwentle Cooperative was formed in 2014. It has been working with Jozi at Work since January 2016 on a rolling month-to-month contract to keep 3 community parks in Ivory Park in tip-top condition.
We clean in the park here, we take in the weeds out, and then we rake in the grass, we're doing the cut grassing, and then we like maintaining the park. Really, we giving the community jobs, because you see, without us, I think most of the families here won't put bread in the table. So that's what we're doing here. We can be so much happy if they can give us, the long contract, because they're giving us like the short terms, like monthly to come and work here. But we can be very much happy if they can give us the long term.
In Ivory Park, a roads project is running in conjunction with the JRA. The scope of work for co-ops in the Jozi at Work program on roads include tasks such as clearing silt, removing weeds, patching potholes and clearing curb inlets.
This work contract is for clearing of silt. As you can see, the guys are busy sweeping and removing all the silt that's caused by the rain. When it's raining, it falls on the road, so they are busy cleaning it. So we are involved as the CSA from VZ Contractors and Epic Engineering. We assist the small companies to execute the jobs. For instance, the tools that they are using, the PPE, the signage, the training, everything that they need to do the job, we assist them with so that they can execute the job here. This one is a once-off job. The guys have been, it's a 500,000 job work package. So we've divided into 3 companies. That 500,000 was split into 3. So this group has started. The other 2 are still to start. Yeah, but once they are done, they are done. Then there will be other different packages. Some are running for 3 months. So it's according to the job that needs to be done.
And to make the companies grow, one of the important things that we need to do is to not just give them one work package in Jozi Work, but to give them repeat work packages so that they can build up the work record and have enough exposure over repeated projects to be able to graduate into higher levels. The construction industry is also unique because the construction industry in South Africa, where it does work for the public sector, is regulated. There's a Construction Industry Development Board Act, which says that government departments and government or municipalities as well can only appoint contractors in the construction industry who are registered with the CIDB board. And that the CIDB registers contractors at various levels, ranging from level 1, which is for the small new companies, up to level 9, which is for the major construction companies. And you have to meet certain requirements to graduate between these levels. So for example, to become a level 2 contractor, you have to have a certain amount of experience, you have had to have done a certain value of work, and you have had to have done it to the quality specifications of the client. So it actually provides a very useful career building framework for us for the construction industry, because the CIDB is already there and they've set the requirements that contractors need to meet to move up the ladder in the construction industry. So our target is to give sufficient work opportunities and sufficient capacity buildings to level 1 contractors so that they can graduate to level 2, and then also perhaps to give some work to level 2 contractors so that they can in turn graduate to level 3. The higher they graduate up the CIDB register, the more bigger projects in government they'll be eligible to tender for and win, and the more likely they'll become successful businesses.
If you look at the extent of our network, both water and sewer, it's over 23,000 kilometers. And if you look at certain sections of the network in terms of different townships having been developed at different times, they have different conditions in terms of wear and tear, and we on an ongoing basis will be replacing and renewing pipes. No greenfields, because the city established, as it were. So there's repeat work. And as I've already indicated, 23,000 kilometers, which on an ongoing basis has to be, replaced. And then as far as other repair and maintenance work, whenever we have a pipe burst and it happens on a tarmac, we have to cut that tarmac, repair the pipe, and then we have to reinstate the pavement as well as the wedges, And the reinstatement, where actually, is one of the areas where we have these co-ops and the SMEs involved. And then another type of work package which is, suitable to Johannesburg Water is the replacement and the cleaning of manhole covers and meter covers. Among other things that they do for us is in Alexander, for example, we have about 6 SMMEs who, because of the congestion, and challenges in moving in big equipment and all of that, they are actually looking after pipe burst and unblocking sewers, and they employ people from the same neighborhood. So they've been doing this now, I think, for plus or minus 2.5 years.
This is the beauty of it. You do find entities that I call them general dealers. In them, they do certain things, several things. They can do, provided they are not going to drop the quality of work, the standard of work. By the way, they will be supervised, overseen by the CSA. The CSA must make sure that these guys are capable of delivering. If they feel that we can also do that, because you see, sometimes you do find cooperatives that have a bigger number and they can, here they deployed about 10, 20 people to do this particular part of work package. There's another one that's coming because they are a 50 or so. Because what we also emphasize and try and say to the public is that when you're a member of a cooperative or a member of a company, there is more value in you being there than you coming in sometimes as a welcome. So that's what we are finding people tending to warm up to, even though sometimes it's a challenge. So yes, they can get into another work package and deliver, provided they have the capability to do so as well.
Varies. The pick-it-up contracts, for example, run for about a year. In the Joshko context, we're looking at 6 months to a year in most of these flat contracts. Some of it is inevitably project-based. So if you're doing pipe replacement, you're contracted for as long as the pipe needs to be replaced. But we also, in the context of Jozi Work, we break down the work into smaller components. So for pipe replacement, there's the co-op or SMME that is doing the initial trench digging. There are the more experienced co-op that is doing the pipe replacement, and then there will be another group that will do the paving and what's called the reinstatement, so restoring the sidewalks. So even in that one exercise, we've already priced in at least 3 sets of work packages that are divisible amongst the groups that are using Jozi Work as a means to build their experience and to create opportunities for them to build a profile and a company that then enters the private sector.
Well, yes. I mean, once on graduation and once people have acquired those skills and their confidence levels are higher, I mean, then you can be a player in the market. It could be both public or private. It could be in the City of Johannesburg. You could decide that you're going to expand into other areas, Tshwane, Guruleni, within the province and beyond.
I started the company in 2000, but it started working in 2003. I jumped into the opportunity when they were open for women in construction. Then I jumped into the opportunity. I registered myself in all the departments as a supplier and then as a contractor. Then with my husband's background as a civil engineering, I had an opportunity because every day when I knock off, I sit down with my husband to go through the drawings, and I learned very, very fast. I started by repairs and renovations, and I was able to register with all as a supplier from all departments until I get to where I am now. If the opportunity comes, yes, I'll definitely jump into it, but it's so difficult at this moment. I've been trying, but it's not easy to penetrate the private sector.
Private sector companies, mining companies, and other companies which appoint construction contractors, even though they're not legally required to use the CIDB register of contractors and that information, many of them do use that information because it's a very useful source of that information about the track record and abilities of contractors. So it very definitely, if contractors are able to rise up those CIDB levels, it puts them in a much stronger position to get work in the private sector as well. To become a successful contractor is very difficult. It's a highly competitive industry, and because the barriers to entry in the construction industry are relatively low. In other words, compared to other industries, you don't need so much capital, and you don't need so many other requirements as you might need to go into other businesses like IT, for example. So it means that a lot of people, unemployed people and people who want to start businesses, are looking at the construction sector as an opportunity for which they could perhaps start a business and be successful. It means that there's a lot of new entrants in the construction industry. So we need to be careful, and we need to take a bit of a special approach with Jozi Work in the construction industry, because we need to be careful if there's currently a situation where there are so many new entrants to the industry that it's very difficult for many of them to raise up. It's almost over-competitive at the entry level. We need to be careful that we don't create even more new entrants. We're trying to particularly focus on existing new companies and small businesses and co-ops and communities which might have already started and got some experience but which have potential to grow.
It's been very exciting to witness people buying into the vision, buying into the program, knowing that if they are able to think through their own ideas, that there's a conduit through which they can be channeled and these ideas can be incubated into enterprises. And they can start taking pride in their own initiatives, and their communities take pride in the initiatives that are there. Because in reality, if you think about who develops sticking to the system, you wouldn't always think that an innovator would come from Soweto to introduce an alternative system to address the problem of water shortages and efficiency in water use in our toilets. And the reality is that it's an innovation that comes from somebody that comes from your local community. You don't always think about actually where does the system in my house come from. A lot of it is imported. Now we're talking about creating it at a local level, creating local enterprises, and people take local pride. So it's been very exciting to witness it.
More than the word pride itself, really, it has played a big role, and I'm interested even to expose it to many people who are sitting at home and say our companies don't get any job. And then I'm ready to canvass Jozi at Work for many contractors who have given up, who say it's long we've been marketing, we don't get a job, but they are not familiar with the Jozi at Work sum. So it's for them to go out. What I'm doing, apparently, I'm invited almost 5 contractors to say, guys, it's long we've been sitting, you say you don't get any job, try something from Jozi at Work.
What it's showing us is that if we think carefully, we can get a lot of efficiencies out of the process. The model is more expensive than just going to the marketplace, because you've got the costs of a support agent, which are usually between 7 and 15% of the cost of the work, plus the cost of the ordinary contract. But what we're finding is some of the efficiencies, the extent of the value of service you get from a really committed local SMMEs makes it worth it. I mean, as we've seen today, just in some of the site visits we've been doing, you roam the streets of Alex, they now look measurably cleaner than they did before, in a highly congested environment where people have to know how to work with the locals to make sure that their waste is managed effectively. So those kind of efficiencies appear in all kinds of different parts of Jozi Work.
How does this link into the growth and development strategy and the specific commitments to the development of the community?
This co-production, which then was then subsequently named Jozi at Work, to give it relevance to the City of Johannesburg, was intended to give effect to the national development plan objectives of addressing poverty, unemployment, as well as inequality, especially for young women and men, because we're also targeting the youth. I mean, if you look at the GDP growth is contracting since 2008. You look at the sectors that absorb both skilled and unskilled people, manufacturing, mining, the agricultural sector, they're shedding jobs. So as the city, we said, let's leverage both the capital and the operating budgets, which we have, which are huge relative to other metros, leverage them and see how we can contribute in addressing those 3 ills.
It is core to actually achieving the objectives of the growth and development strategy. When we set out to, develop a vision and ensure that we bring in the people of Johannesburg as partners in this vision, we said we need to tap into their knowledge, their capacity and their innovation to help us build a city of the future. And particularly important would be about creating local enterprises, supporting local economic development and incubating local initiatives that enable us to create enterprises at a local level that are able to compete internationally. And this would range from ICT, software, green economy initiatives that we use for our own city. We can say that we've got other municipalities that are already tapping into the system that we're talking about, that are quite keen to tap into that. We've got private enterprises that are tapping into that. So it is about building a partnership in building a city of the future and building Johannesburg into a world-class African city, a city that is livable, sustainable and resilient. So in essence, that might sound cliche, but in reality, when we talk about sustainability, it's about how do we use our resources sustainably. And looking at an alternative system is exactly about using water in a sustainable way. How do we ensure resilience to the shocks of running short of water? It is by reducing the amount of water that we use. And how do we become livable? It is about creating communities that have greater access to their own city. So it's translating this vision and all these cliche sounding sort of statements into practical realities that are happening on the ground.
While all this work is going on throughout the metropolitan of Johannesburg, residents mutter among themselves or complain formally about the disruption.
It's very difficult because we've actually introduced a lot of disruption in our city. Some of it is a bit more hard to swallow, like the work that we're doing on the M1 that people are particularly anxious about. But the feedback we're getting is, well, we understand that the highway needs to be expanded, that the projects need to be addressed. But it's also disruption in terms of innovation, in terms of people buying into new innovations and having the ability to invest in those innovations. And we've seen both private individuals and corporate South Africa and corporate Johannesburg buying into these programs, continuously trying to partner with us in implementing some of these programs. And I think it is a disruption that has been welcomed by the vast majority of Johannesburgers.